Jacob deGrom is back where the party started for him. He looked more like a partier when he started his MLB career at Yankee Stadium May 15th in 2014. He's back now. Can he pitch as well today as he did then? We've got answers next. DLLS Rangers podcast. Yes, sporting a mane of hair that pretty much hung down on his shoulders and to the top part of his back. Jacob deGrom started his major league career at Yankee Stadium, and now today he is back there with the Rangers. Then, of course, he was with the Mets. That night, he was part of a 1-0 game, a loss by the Mets. They didn't score for him. Tonight, we're hoping for better things from the Rangers offense. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here. Jeff Wilson there. We've got the Prophet over there. That's Elijah Smith. We're so glad to have you with us today as well. You see already a couple of things in the chat. Keep them coming. Let's talk this through. Let's figure out what happened last night. And, Jeff, let's figure out if the Rangers can do exactly what they did against another really good American League team in Detroit. They lost game 1, and then with deGrom and Eovaldi going for games 2 and 3, they won them both.
Well, they'll show up to the ballpark the next 2 days knowing they have a chance to win the game. And I guess they're showing up every day with that chance, with the way the rotation's been going. But, we're talking about deGrom, potential Hall of Famer, depending on how these next few years go. Nathan Eovaldi, who's potential Cy Young winner this year, early on, in the mix, one of the top probably 3 starters in the American League. And that's saying something. And so, they're going to have a chance to win. So that's good. The bats have to come through. And it's the same old story. We've been saying this now for 48 games, 49 games. And it's getting it's beyond frustrating, I'm sure, for a lot of the fans. I'm sure for some of the players it is. Things were looking up. You're going to have games like you had last night, I suppose. But it seemed like that was a lot of frustration on that bench.
No doubt about it. It bubbled over. And we're going to talk a little bit about the bubbling. And we're also going to talk about Brett Boone and what's going on there coming up a little later in the show. Lots of things to talk about and digest from last night's game. First was how late, Jeff, that they made the announcement/decision on Chris Martin. We were thinking we might get it as soon as when we were still on the show live, and then it just got delayed and delayed and delayed, and then they finally did make the announcement that there was no significantly more damage to the shoulder, but that he just shoulder fatigue. He just needed 15 days to kind of recover.
Yeah, give him a couple weeks. Let him not throw maybe for a few days, or just light catch. Make sure that everything is feeling fine there, and then go forward when they think the time is right. Because twice in the last homestand, he threw one pitch and left the game. First time was the elbow when he heard some pops. And then this last one, he just felt some discomfort in the shoulder, and he's had surgery on that shoulder. So it's kind of scary situation for him, which probably led to all the cursing and demonstrative acts he was doing. But gosh, he's must 9 lives type of situation. He just wasted 2 in the last week to avoid the injuries, but. It's curious how they're going to try to map out a plan from going forward. He's pretty much just going to be a 1-inning guy.
Yeah.
No more bridging the 7th to the Maybe the postseason that might be different, but got to keep him healthy. Gotta keep this guy going because he's an important piece. You can look at the numbers and they're very, very good. He throws strikes, has been in the biggest of situations. So whatever you can do to keep him going, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and the reality is that shoulder has been surgically repaired, and so thankfully there was no damage to it done. But you have to be cautious with it, and you brought it up. You were the first one I saw that said it, and it's been reported a lot since, Jeff. But he did 3 days in a row, right, for the first time in his career, and I believe in addition to no longer doing the bridge, the 7th into the 8th or that type of thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to try 3 days in a row with a almost 39-year-old man.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you talk about, we don't have to go back that long ago where guys work 3 straight days all the time.
Sure.
Closers seem like that was the minimum, really. He's got to be able to work 3 days in a row. Well, you just don't see that anymore, and at least not. It's rare. And these guys go out, they play catch every day, right? And before the game, and then Mike Maddox says, "All right, how you feeling? What do you want to do? Can you go today?" They look at the number of pitches that have been piled up for the week and maybe the last few days. They know exactly where every pitcher is, but the pitcher will say, "I can go today. I can get you a batter. I can get an inning. I feel good." And so a lot of it is going based on what the pitcher says too. And Chris Martin, the rest of the season, once he's back, may say every third day, "Hey, I feel great."
Yeah.
But they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And now that means that someone will have to, step in on those rare occasions when they need a guy on the third straight day. Maybe there's an acquisition coming up at the deadline, before the deadline. Maybe, they add more depth with Josh Spores, another high leverage guy they're going to want. And again, maybe John Gray figures his way into this mix. I'm not sure, but you could see this coming. They've been playing these close games, not the injuries, but you could see that at some point they're going to have to monitor these guys' workloads because
100%.
The pace that they're on pace to throw 80, 90, 100 innings, and you just these guys can't do that. So it'd be nice to score some runs. That always helps. Have some non-safe situations for once. Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
But then if you've been losing games and your closer has to throw in a situation like that just to stay sharp. Whatever it is, I really think though that everything would be better if this team was hitting.
No, there's just no question about that. It's been frustrating, and as we said, we'll talk about how Boch expressed his frustration, which of course you already know, but we'll dive into all of that a little bit later on in the program. Other things, to not like, frankly, about the game is that they struck out 14 times total, Jeff.
Yeah.
10 against Will Warren, who we were kind of saying, they don't have much of a body of work here. I think it was only his 5th major league start, and the Rangers just couldn't figure him out. They weren't seeing the ball. Now, I wonder if there was an issue seeing the ball just in general at Yankee Stadium yesterday, because watching Mike Bassick talk about a couple of at-bats that particularly that the left-handed hitters had against Patrick Corbin, and he was going, I just don't think they're seeing the ball. They don't see the lefties in particular, just didn't seem like they were picking it up. And I wonder if, maybe just something about the sky, the day, the overcast, whatever, was causing that. But still, the Yankees figured out a way to see it and figured out a way to put runs on the board. The Rangers didn't until they were 1 strike away, Jeff, from losing the game.
Well, maybe there is something to it, but it's not like there are tons of hard hit balls in that game either.
No, true.
The Aaron Judge home run,
the shortest of his career.
Yeah, 100 miles an hour. So that's a barrel, but it doesn't. It wasn't mashed.
It looked like a pop up. It really did.
It probably would have been an out on a lot of ballparks.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were just soft hits. The hit that off of Webb that made it by Volpe, I believe, that made it 3-0. A little flare. There's nothing you can do about that. So So there might be something to that. I would, the Rangers are a team that can strike out a lot.
Yeah.
We've come to see that.
Yep.
But maybe you're right. And maybe it was hard to pick up. Now, gosh, it's like you saw the strikeouts in the sixth and kind of in some key strikeouts in some key spots where there was some chase involved. Well, then maybe that's not picking up the ball. Maybe that's these guys trying to do too much. But I don't discount the theory that it might have been hard to see the ball last night.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. It was, it was brought up a bunch. And again, even in 2023, if the Rangers had, a rough offensive day, there were generally a lot of strikeouts. I mean, this is a team that really is prone to that. And I think part of that, Jeff, has to do, of course, with the fact that they're aggressive at the plate, and of course, Corey's not available right now, but that when he's the king of aggressiveness at the plate. So
yeah, but he's also the king of making contact.
True.
Corey, he will strike out, but he also hits the ball, puts the ball in play, hits it forward quite often. But you're seeing, Jock Peterson struck out a couple times. DLLS struck out a few times. He struck out 3 times the other day against Framber Valdez. So I mean, it's that's just it. This is a team that is filled a lineup that's filled with aggressive hitters, and you can't just change them overnight. In a lot of cases, these guys who they are. Josh Young, I think, has potential to be a more patient hitter. Marcus Semien leads the team in walks.
Yep.
So I mean, there are, but Jonah Heim's an aggressive hitter.
Yep.
I mean, DLLS obviously is an aggressive hitter. Jock Peterson, who's walked a lot lately, sure seems to be. I still don't have a feel for him. He's just been so off.
Yeah.
But they're killing the team. Those three in the middle of the lineup
those 3 guys
are not helping. And it seems like every time the Rangers need something or come up with a good situation, they have the wrong guys up there. And I don't know how you fix that glut, how you break them up, because it's not like the other 6 guys are batting 300.
No.
Corey Seager's return is gonna help immensely, but that's still maybe a week away, maybe not till the homestand. So I would I don't know. They got to keep figuring it out, mixing and matching. But I would try to break those 3 up.
Yeah, I would too. And somebody already brought that up in the chat, and it's certainly something I'm sure that Boch is considering. But it is kind of dicey because the offensive sort of malaise isn't as extended right now as it was earlier, right? They've mixed in a few more games where they've had some offense. So how quickly do you tweak with things like the batting order, which Boch proved during the other malaise, and before Donnie Ecker was let go, he proved that he would pull out all the stops, right?
Yeah.
He'll do everything, and now with the new, I guess they're calling him hitting instructor, Brett Boone. There's probably a little different approach from Boch's standpoint too. We'll talk a lot more about what Boch feels about Boone and maybe vice versa coming up a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, there were plenty of reasons to be frustrated about last night's game. There's no doubt about that. It is a good Yankees team, and it is interesting that not that the Rangers haven't beaten any good teams, because they have. Boston here, Detroit up there. They've done well and have a winning record despite having this very difficult start to the season. But there ain't a lot of Colorados out there.
There aren't. Now, some of this is going to take care of itself. The Yankees are throwing left-handers the next 2 days, so Jock Peterson will sit. So that helps. I guess I would keep Josh Smith going, though. And I know he sat against Framber Valdez. That might have been more of a rest situation than anything else. But you'll see going to see a lot of right-handed hitters the next 2 nights.
Yeah. It makes sense, and it's a good idea, and hopefully it will pay off for the Rangers. Now, coming up next, we want to talk about the frustration not only the Rangers are experiencing, but really it appears to be epidemic across baseball right now. Everybody's angry with the umpires, and we talk about that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But hey, today I've got props.
Oh,
This right here is the Mando Whole Body Deodorant, Invisible Cream, the Pro Sport version. And it says right on here, for pits, packages, and feet. And so you want to smell my feet? You can smell them, baby. This stuff
let me
works.
see that. Let me see that.
Yeah, it's good. It's got a good aroma. Does it say on there what this
This
version?
This is
leather
the Pro
or-
Sport
Okay.
scent.
Okay. All right. So the scents are good.
I smell like an athlete.
Yeah. My yes. Put it on. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
My I've got the
Oh, wait,
leather.
I think the cap's on. This is like brand new.
Oh,
this is
it's
right
brand
out
new.
of the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got the leather bourbon at home.
Ooh.
And I'm smelling like leather and bourbon big time. My feet are. And I'll let any one of you just put it in the chat. I'll let you come smell my damn feet. I mean, it's fantastic. I like this Mando stuff. You should too. It's fantastic. Get $5 off your starter pack of Mando with the code DLLS.
My hands now smell very good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I have some hand odor problems, I guess. Anyway, hey, how's Nicole at Game Time doing,
Oh,
John?
great. Oh, I haven't. When I was on vacation, I had to
She
reach
was sending
out.
you stuff.
Yeah, I had to reach out. I say, Nicole, what's going on in Michigan? What's going on in Chicago? You know?
Yeah, I hear you.
And
Yeah, so Game Time, that's our favorite ticket app. And if you download the app and you go there and on your first purchase, use the code DLS, you can save up to $20. We got some Rangers are out of town, but Globe Life Field will be buzzing this weekend with the Big 12 tournament. And then you got those Stars. I hear they're still playing hockey.
yeah, they're good. Yeah, they play tonight.
I heard the Western Conference Finals start tonight. One step away from playing for Lord Stanley's Cup,
Yeah.
so that's kind of exciting. Concerts, anything you want, all-in pricing. That's at Game Time. So download the app and use the code DLS for 20% off your first purchase.
All right. So last night, also watching the game, consuming it, and always enjoying the fine work of our buddy Mike Bassick, who's been on the show many times. Mike was saying in Aaron Judge's first at bat, and Patrick Corbin quickly gets behind 2-0 in Judge's first at bat, and Mike said then, Aaron Judge now has the Barry Bonds strike zone, and you will not, as a pitcher, you won't get a strike on him unless he swings, basically, right? I mean, and obviously Mike is, overstating it. It's a little hyperbole. However, if anybody knows about pitching to Barry Bonds, it's Mike.
It's Mike Bassick.
Right? Yeah.
That's right.
So, and two, and it was absolutely true on both of the pitches in that at bat. They were both, a little high in the zone, but they were both clearly in the box. I mean, way in the box, and both called balls. And that kind of frustration finally bubbled over when Aaron Judge, excuse me. Oof. I'm allergic to Mando. No. Aaron Judge was batting in the sixth, and there was a borderline call, and Boch had enough. Now,
Yeah.
I think there was a lot to it. It wasn't just the call, Jeff, and we'll get into maybe some of the other aspects of it here in a second, but it just bubbled over. The umpires, and Boch talked about it afterwards, saying, God, the way we've been going, we've just been getting hurt by umpires.
Yeah.
And umpires are supposed to be invisible and not noticed, and we've been noticing them, Jeff, way too much.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this one. I think umpires are sensing this hostility too.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have shorter fuses. How many umpire? We had there's an ejection in our game Sunday. Bochy yesterday. You saw Alex Cora and Walker Buehler both get it last night in the Boston game, and they have very strong arguments that these calls were missed, and the one that got me and then got Boch. You go look at these umpire evaluator on Twitter. I follow Ump Scorecard, and that was one of the worst three misses. Was that pitch to Aaron Judge from Jacob Webb, and good for Boach for asserting himself and putting himself into the argument. He might need to do it more often. I'm sure the players would love to pay his fine, or the club would take care of it. But it is a problem across the sport, and I do wonder. And I mentioned this in Monday's show. Ken Rosenthal and Jason Stark wrote a story about robo-umps and the challenge system, and how there's still some tweaks that need to be done to it, and the players aren't sure if they would vote for something that isn't 100% accurate. But I don't think 100% accuracy is possible, is what this story made it sound like. But
right.
You got to at least have the challenge. You got to at least be able to challenge the call and change the game. Marcus Semien, we're talking about how crappy he's been, and he hasn't been very good. His at bat in the sixth, one key situation for the Rangers, he's up 1-0, and the 1-0 pitch is called a strike, and it was way inside. That changes the at bat.
Yep,
it just changes the at bat. So if he were to be able to tap his helmet there, hey, 2-0 count, you're in the driver's seat.
Much better.
So but it is a problem. You remember Andy Fletcher? He had the game with Jacob deGrom, where deGrom aired him out a little bit. I was looking at the umpire scorecard account before the show. Andy Fletcher last night had the A's game and got only 88% accuracy. I mean, it's his box, it was just littered with missed calls all over it.
All around the entire strike zone.
It was incredible.
And what was his percentage? Do you remember in that deGrom game? Because he had a terrible. I think
it was still in the 90s.
91, I think.
Yeah, but it was below average.
Still pretty bad. Yeah.
I just see that this has to come to a head, and I think this last week. How many calls were missed in the last week? Isn't it on the run? Like
1,008.
1,008
missed calls the week of 5/12.
Okay, yeah, I didn't do the math to figure out. You figure there's 200 pitches in a game,
right?
15 games a day.
Yep.
Is that a small percentage?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but it seems it's like the game-changing calls,
right?
If it's 10-0 and the umpire's strike zone gets big, all right, who gives a shit? But if it's 1-1 or 2-0, and this, those calls can alter the course of the game.
Yeah, and here's the reality, okay? And we've been covering baseball for 50 years between us, maybe 60, and we've seen a million games. And Bruce Bochy's been in the game for that long, and in general, and you don't hear players or managers bitch that often about a strike zone because, you win some, you lose some. It's not that bad. They even out, right? They don't want the umpires to be a part of the game. And suddenly this year, even more so than last year, it just seems to be a new epidemic right now that not only is everybody noticing, but everybody's complaining. And you could say, well, that's this generation of athlete. No, I mean, Bruce Bochy's not this generation of athlete. He comes old. He's old school. And 2 games in a row, Boch got tossed. And he talked about, and I was there in Detroit, he talked about that deGrom day, and he said, oh, God, we were barking at him all night long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they know, and they don't lose it that often as they have so far this year. The Walker Buehler thing, you could clearly read his lips. And he said, it was right down the effing middle. And the umpire said, what? And he said, it was right down the effing middle. And then the umpire tossed him, and he said, F you. So that was how that exchange went. And a good thing he waited on the FU, because he would, of course, that would have gotten him tossed anyway. But so it's very, very frustrating to watch, and it's very, very frustrating for me because, first of all, I learned it, from way back in the day with Jimmy Johnson covering the Cowboys, and he always said, we have to be better than the referees. We have to be good enough to be able to overcome anything they might do to us. And so I generally, in my coverage and in just my sports viewing, I try to not include the umpires or the referees or the linesmen in a hockey game, or the refs in basketball. But it's unavoidable so far this year, Jeff. It's changed. It's different, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and going back to that story at the Athletic, they talked to an umpire who, those guys don't want to be quoted, so he was speaking anonymously. But basically, the collective thought around, the umpires is, they obviously are against the challenge system and the robo-umps, because they get embarrassed.
Sure.
And if a guy's doing it, getting challenged 6 times in a game, or I don't know if they'd have limits on it, but it's like, so I think they're sensing it too, sensing the inevitable is coming, and they don't like it. There's nothing they can do about it. There is something they can do about it. They can be better.
Be better. Yeah.
And so I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. I don't know. Did we hear a big uproar from the, World Tennis Officials Union,
No.
when instant replay came in? Or what about NFL officials? Are they,
They're
misfumble?
fine.
I think the world, everything is going to keep on trucking. And if the game is better because of it, then the commissioner has to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, if you want your best product on the field, if you want fans not getting flustered and saying, screw this, I'm not coming back, my team keeps getting screwed, or turning off the TV when something happens. And believe me, Rob Manfred is all about money.
He is.
Okay, that's not a bad thing, but he's all about money. And if dollars and cents are involved, or a challenge system, whatever is coming, if it's the best thing for the game and the game's finances.
Yeah, and the reality is too, I mean, you've all seen it, we've all seen it. It's easy. I one of the reasons I've never, tried to resort to sort of the umpire bashing or the referee bashing is that's such an easy sort of default, well, the other team was good, but the umpire screwed us or the referees screwed us. And a lot of fans resort to that. I saw it with my kids playing sports all the time in, coming up through all the way through high school. And I'd always say, man, the refs don't care. The refs aren't against our team. It's okay. The refs weren't trying to, but now fans have that sort of knee jerk anyway. And now because they're then hearing about it from the manager or the players, it validates it. And truthfully, I mean, it's true this year. There's more to it.
Yeah.
So they've got to fix this thing. Manfred, to your point, has proven he will not only do what's best for the finances of the game, but, it was so controversial to do the pitch clock. And it's one of the best things that's happened to baseball.
Best. And the players agree with it,
They
too.
do.
I mean, now that they've adapted, I know there are still some tweaks that they like the pitchers would like the ability to be able to call a timeout.
Yeah. Like the batter can.
Yeah. Just, if the batter can do it, why can't the pitcher do it? And I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
now,
me too.
Not every at bat, I'm not fine
Right.
with it, but I'd be okay with it once an inning, let's say, or special circumstances. You cover the base 2 plays in a row.
Sure. Yeah.
Or you're getting your butt lit up and you're backing up third base and then you're backing up home on consecutive plays. Yeah, you might want to catch your breath. So some things, but no one everybody loves everybody I talk to loves the pitch clock.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you say, we talk to players and coaches and all that. There's nobody in the game, purists or otherwise. I mean, I'm sure we could, Bob Costas may not like it. I don't know, right? Some of these baseball purists, George Will. Yeah. But
is he still with us?
Ken
So.
Burns, these guys hate it, but too bad for them. It's great. It works, and it keeps those games, quicker and at a better pace and so much more watchable. So anyway, Boch did get frustrated, and we'll talk more about that and how it relates to what's happening on the offense. Boch on Boone coming up as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. And another prop right here.
Oh, look at you.
See these, Joe? Is Joe out there today? I'm wearing these Shady Rays, the Hurons today, because it might be the last time you see them for a while. Because when it was time for me, now, full disclosure, they gave us these when we started. So, but when it came time for me to buy new sunglasses, I went to Shady Rays. I've ordered the Aviators. Ooh. So the next time I'm modeling Shady Rays, it'll be the gold frame green lens Aviators. So I'm just saying that's how much I think of them, right? Got these for free, liked them so much I bought a pair, and they're on the way. So anyway, they're great. They're fantastic sunglasses. They're durable. It's really hard to mess them up. You know, I've thrown them around, put them under the seat accidentally, had them in the glove box of the golf cart. Nothing destroys these things. They're fantastic. I encourage you to get them. ShadyRays.com. Use the code DLLS for 35% off.
Yeah, and more also in the prop department. John and I are both representing DLLS with our gear, and you can too. Just go over to store.allcitynetwork.com. Pick out a variety of shirts from all the teams we cover and we'll soon be covering. Maybe a little hint there, a little foreshadowing. But, we're growing, and you guys are the reason why. And being a diehard rules, and you get a free shirt with that. But you don't need you don't have to limit yourself to just one. And hats are coming soon. We're big pullover and polo guys, so we've got our requests in, and we know what we want to do. But again, I have 15 of these shirts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you have that one with the Cowboys helmet. Is that
I don't
new?
have any. I don't have any Cowboys. Well, this is a Cowboys shirt.
I don't have one Cowboys. I'm looking at that one right there. That other one's the one I wore yesterday. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's just good stuff. So head on over to store.allcitynetwork.com. Shirts are usually about $35, and you get them quick.
Yeah, fantastic. So I was listening on the radio actually to the pregame show yesterday, but it's the same on radio and TV. Uh-huh. So if you were watching along on Ranger Sport Network, you heard it too. But it was the Eric Nadel interview with Bruce Bochy, and Boch, in the course of that interview, and I'm not sure, I don't really even remember why, maybe because of the Boone reunion that Eric brought up Brett, on this day, I guess 2 weeks into his tenure. Is that right? 2 or 3?
It was 2 yesterday.
Yeah, 2 yesterday. So 2 weeks into his tenure, why Eric brought him up, but he did, and Boch went on and on. But the key line from what Boch was saying, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this is essentially the point. He said, I hope Booney doesn't get frustrated by some of these at-bats, right? And it was Boch's way of acknowledging that we're throwing away and giving away and just absent, it seems, on some of these at-bats. And then I was back in the car for a minute after the top of the 4th inning, and they go to break, and Eric Nadel throws it to break saying, that was a miserable inning. Those were terrible at-bats, right? And that's exactly what Boch was talking about. You mentioned the 6th as well for the Rangers, right? I mean, there's just too many instances of that, and the fact that Boch mentioned it, like I hope he's not getting frustrated, indicates that nobody at this point would have expected Brett Boone to be able to fix all of it, right?
Right.
But that part is such a big part of it.
Well, it is, and if they end up liking Brett Boone, and if Brett Boone ends up kind of feeling good about it, they'd probably want to keep him around.
Sure.
So don't piss him off with these bad at bats. But what we're talking about here kind of parlays kind of relates to what's going on there in the chat between Benny and Dan and Ethan and Gallagher Champ and CJ. A lot of talk about Garcia and Simeon.
Yeah.
And they came up and Peterson. Then they came up in critical situation last night, bases loaded, and just it didn't happen. And it's not the first time.
No.
And that's an issue. And it's not that they're just getting unlucky, hitting the ball right at somebody. They're not hitting the ball at all. And regarding Simeon, and I see Benny, who's ready to get rid of Marcus, which won't be easy to do with what he has left on the contract.
There's almost no way.
But somebody during this discourse talked about how Simeon is chasing sliders off the plate, and I talked to a scout about that, and it really, the decline started in the 23 postseason. You remember that Marcus did not hit well at all.
Right. Yeah.
In the postseason. He saved it by what he did in games 4 and 5 in the World Series, but it was not pretty, and it seems like these baseball teams aren't dumb. If somebody finds something, everybody else is going to see it. These scouts are going to see it, but Marcus has to figure out a way to stay away from the slider. Make them throw it for a strike. And it's just really hard, and it's weak contact too. When he does hit the ball or hit a slider, it's a pop up. It's not good enough. And he did have hit a ball to right field yesterday for a hit.
The all-field approach was mentioned. Jeff plugged his microphone,
but it was only his third hit to right field. He's hit a lot of balls to right field. They've just been out. So, maybe that is something that Brett Boone has suggested, or Marcus is he's so fed up, ready to try. But, batting him fifth right now is not working. Batting Jock Peterson third and fourth is not working. And Adolis Garcia, who has batted as low as seventh, maybe go ahead and do that. But they have to be broken up.
Yes, I agree.
They can't all three bat together right now with the way they're going. And again, the lefties are going to take care of that the Yankees are throwing. But it's just a heck of a predicament here, and we're not 3 weeks into the season anymore.
No.
50 games. Tonight's the Rangers' 50th game. And yes, that means there's 112 to go. More than 2/3 of the season is left, but this doesn't look like it's gonna fix itself. These guys aren't coming around, and whether that's because Adolis is listening to his hitting coach that he hired more than he's listening to Brett Boone, or reacting the way he did in the past. And there was another note that was in there that I've said before. Adolis Garcia was not a 300 hitter coming into this season. His career batting average was below 250, and his career on-base percentage was below 300. So this is who he is, right? But that doesn't mean he can't be better. Go back to 2023. What did he do more than anything he'd done in his career? Well, besides home runs, walked.
Yeah.
Career high in walks that year. His walk rate, he still struck out a ton, but his walkout rate was much higher. And it's just showing a little more patience, making these guys throw you strikes. When he's behind in the count, make them throw it down the middle, because they're not going to. They're going to throw a slider off the plate or a fastball above the zone. And it's just, he needs to know that.
Yes.
And
make it, the only way to make it happen is to take those pitches, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not swing at them.
Regarding a trade of Adolis, I saw that. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that they'll be able to trade him necessarily, but they don't want to pay him what he's going to be projected to make in arbitration at this point, unless he goes crazy here the rest of the season. But do you want to pay Adolis Garcia $12-13 million next year?
No, I don't think so.
No. I don't know. He's a fan favorite, but fans like winning, and fans like it.
Yeah, and fans.
And if I'm telling you, if Sebastian Walcott continues to perform like he's performing as a 19-year-old, I think you're going to see him A, get moved to AAA, and B, start playing right field. I think that he's the apparent answer to Adolis Garcia, whether that's next season or in 2027. I just think that's where he ends up. And maybe Seager gets moved off of shortstop. Well, then that would open the spot for Josh Smith.
Sure.
So I'm not exactly sure, but it's not. It's interesting to look at and consider the future for Garcia. I mean, Simeon, you could argue, was on a Hall of Fame trajectory after the 23 season.
Yes.
And now it's just gone.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean he can't recover it, but and the Rangers better hope he can, because they still owe him beyond this year 66 million.
Wow.
72 million. 26 and 20. So
wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot to pay a guy that's hitting 160 something.
Yeah, 174 I think when he came up yesterday, and Jake Berger's under 17. Not Jake, but rather Jock Peterson is under 175. Jake, and I saw this in the chat too. Jake is, his 10 days or thereabouts down at the minor league level seem to have, not only helped, but he's just in a better headspace, I think, right now.
Yeah, he's done well. His average has gone above 200.
Yeah.
He's above the Mendoza line, and kind of, not insignificantly above. It's about 220 last I checked in. So he's definitely shown some progress. Hit some balls hard. Hit a ball to the warning track last night. So he has he looks to have been maybe not fixed, but something is working the right way for him. And you've seen Josh Young perform better. Wyatt Langford seems like he's kind of turning around again. So you just got to see these core guys. Peterson, who was supposed to fix the offense,
right?
I mean, that's why he was signed. Simeon and Garcia, they gotta start clicking.
Yeah, it's amazing, and again, just for the record, to remind everybody, as frustrated as we are, you have no idea how frustrated they are. I mean, It is very frustrating. As everybody always says in sports, they don't want to go out there and fail. They don't want to go out there and suck. And right now, those three guys have been, and certainly all way below what's expected, not only of them by others, but what they expect of themselves. And, they'll keep working. I mean, that's all they can do. And to the point of, I saw somebody put in there, finally, Josh Young is in the 3 spot, which is a great spot for him. It doesn't mean he's going to stay there when Corey Seager comes back, but it's a good spot for him right now. And there were, complaints, why is he batting 7th? What's Josh Young doing batting 7th? Well, he's back. He's, what he did when he was in 7th? He raked, and so now he's back up into a more prominent role, at least a prominent spot in the batting order. And Boch will do that. Those little subtle changes like that, not the wholesale ones, could be happening. Like you say, the lefties will dictate that they break those guys up today, but you could see Berger breaking those guys up at some point in the near future.
Yeah, I saw Alejandro Osuna mentioned there. He's kind of a gritty guy, and everybody fell in love with him at spring training. He still does need some AAA time. I like the way Sam Haggerty's performed.
Boy, no kidding.
I don't know if it's sustainable, just based on his career records, but he's also never really had the chance to play every day. So maybe now he's going to get that opportunity. If he stays hot, I guarantee you Bruce Bochy is not going to take him out of the lineup.
Nope.
I think you could see Haggerty and Pilar in the lineup the next 2 days. I know, and Haggerty can play a couple different spots, including second base for those who are not thrilled with Marcus Semien. But I just again, it's how you break them up. I think you probably keep Adolis in the middle. I would move Jock lower.
Yep.
Maybe get Marcus that bat out of the way. Let him bat leadoff.
Get him back to the top,
or give him a vote of confidence. Say, Marcus.
Yeah. This
is where you belong.
Let's try this again.
Let's do it.
Yeah. We thought moving you to 5 might fix it, and it hasn't. So let's go back to what we were doing. Those are the difficult decisions yet to be made by Bruce Bochy, certainly with the input of the hitting instructor and really all the hitting coaches. Obviously Brett Boone and Justin Veely and Seth Connor. They will all put their heads together and continue to try and fix this offense. It seems fixable. That's the part that is so frustrating. More coming up as we clean up this show. It's batting cleanup time coming next. Some fun there and some craziness there. It's next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time to become a diehard. If you haven't done this yet, I think I saw we got a big number last week between the Stars doing well as they did and the Mavs getting the number 1 overall pick. A lot of eyeballs came and said, oh, wow, I could be a diehard and do this. And one thing, too, to know about diehards, one of the diehards had reached out to one of our Cowboys guys, Joseph Hoyt, and he said, man, every time I try to go behind the paywall and read, I can't. And Joseph put it out there to our technical support team, which is in Denver, and the guy there in Denver said, send me that email. I'll take care of this. So if you are having any difficulties, I loved the way that response came through. Right, we'll get this taken care of.
We're a site that's geared toward fans.
Yeah,
we give information. We have these podcasts. We laugh. We mention you guys. We try to exchange. Have discourse with you guys there in the chat and bring up your topics and points of view. And that's what we're here for. And customer service is a huge tenet of that. When I had my little website, gosh, I'll tell you how many emails I would answer trying to make things right for people and get it right. It's what it's all about. And, we want you to read all of our stuff, not just Ranger stuff, but Stars, who are, again, very good, Mavs, who appear to be
headed in the right direction.
Yeah, raising their flag with 2 G's. And then the Cowboys, they're the Cowboys. They're always worth reading about. So the Wings, they got that number 1 pick. So things are looking up around the Metroplex, and if you want to be the best fan you can be, you got to be a diehard. $79.99. We run sales every once in a while, but even at $79.99, it's an outrageous value. And just out of curiosity for those listening, I'd love to know who is a diehard. I'm not going to hold you in contempt if you're not, but give it a shot and see what you're missing.
Yeah, so let's clean this thing up. We've got a baseball game to watch in just a couple of hours, it seems. I couldn't believe how quick. I'm home. Oh, I got to turn the game on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, cleaning it up, Andrew Jones, former Ranger.
Yes.
Although not really known for his time with the Rangers.
Yeah.
He's a former Ranger. Andrew with the UW, that Andrew. He is going to be, I don't think I knew this about him, Jeff. He's going to be the manager of the Netherlands.
Yes.
In the World Baseball Classic next year.
Yep.
But he's a Caribbean guy,
He's
right?
from Curacao.
That's what I thought.
Which is...
is that a Netherlands territory?
Territory.
Is it really?
Such. Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that's like Jerkson Profar, for instance, has played for the Netherlands in the past. A lot of those guys have. Andrew Jones, I loved him.
I did too.
The 1 year was fantastic. I continue to vote for him to be in the Hall of Fame. He should be. He was the game's best center fielder for a number of years. Was an integral part of those Braves teams. Probably contributed to Greg Maddux and John Smoltz and Tom Glavine getting into the Hall of Fame. That guy could go get it, and I absolutely think that he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I will continue to vote for him. So that's good. Good. I really liked him, and his son is in the Diamondbacks organization. I think he was the number 2 overall pick in 22 before the Rangers shocked the world and took Kumar Rocker at 3.
Wow. Okay. So I haven't seen if he is he climbing the ranks.
Well, he got hurt right away.
Okay.
Hurt his shoulder right when he turned pro, and but he's still a
top
well thought of prospect.
Good. Well, good for him. Good for Andrew. So I don't know if anybody else does this. I talk to my plants.
Oh,
and trees. Just want them to know I'm there for them if anything happens, And I think it helps them. I really think it helps them grow. It makes them feel included in the family. Look, and they're not inanimate. I don't talk to a lot of inanimate objects, but they're living. Trees and plants are living, breathing creatures. But a baseball bat, that is inanimate.
Well,
but
maybe.
Can it? Oh, and that's true. I do talk to the golf ball.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Bite, get left, kick off that hill. And a lot of times if I scream in my dad voice, the ball listens.
Doesn't happen often.
No, but I think it's just because of my volume. I got to get louder. But in any event, so we do. We talk to adamant objects and inanimate objects. And but Ketel Marte took this to another level recently. Check out this video that a fan caught at a Diamondbacks game. Look at him. He's talking to it. See, I want you to hit it out there. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Right out there, right? This is just fantastic. He's got a whole thing. And if you do, we're gonna open a bottle of champagne. And all right, here we go, right? I mean, that was a conversation with the bat.
Look, this guy finished third in the MVP vote last year.
Yeah.
They all go through it. He'd been hurt. He got hurt early in the year, but I got that that was sent to me by Rangers fan Ryan Dant, and I tell you what, it couldn't hurt.
No, why not?
Can't hurt.
Yeah, yeah. And it was hard to tell. It might have been, just encouraging words, or he might have been scolding it.
It looked like a scolding.
It kind of did look like he was scolding it, like I'm tired of you not hitting the ball out there. But whichever it was, I hope it works. I like that. I like my God, my kids give me so much crap for talking to my plants, and actually my son does on the golf course too. I can't hear you. Yeah, I know. I know, but it works sometimes. Any Reacher fans?
Oh,
out
I'm
there?
a big Reacher fan.
Oh, I loved the books, and to be honest, I hated the movie. And I'm not
with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I'm not.
I thought it was okay.
I'm not against Tom Cruise, but I read the books, as did you, I'm sure. And Reacher's this big 6'5", 250-pound guy who's a block and a rock solid muscle. And here's old 5'8" Tom Cruise running like this.
That is true. That is true.
And I just couldn't go there, even though they tried to take all the shots from way low, so it looked like Tom Cruise was a giant. We all know that he's little and he can't run, and so anyway, I didn't buy the movie, but man, this the series is at Netflix or Prime. I don't know which one we watch it on, but there's a series out there with Reacher, and this dude looks like Reacher. So
Alan Richman.
Yeah, Alan Richman. And there he was. They're actually filming a portion of one of the future episodes at a Cubs game. So I think that's really cool. I can't wait to see that episode.
Yeah, that is cool.
And we're currently, I think, on season 2 of that one. And it's fascinating. And it's just, it's just each season is one of the books, basically. And I don't think I've actually read the book that season 2 is. So I'm locked in. I'm by the channel. So anyway,
the actress he was sitting next to, her character, I think her name's Nellie or something like that. She's based in Chicago.
Okay,
Reacher, as you know, just
he's not based anywhere.
He's a wanderer.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And you're right. I forgot. Yeah, she's based in Chicago, and they were all part of a military team.
Yeah.
When they were all active military, and now Reacher goes out and just does good. Right.
Goes out and destroys people, basically.
Yeah. He destroys people, but you want him to destroy that person.
Right.
Like that person is such a bad person. You're cheering when Reacher destroys them. So anyway, love that. Very fun. So the Rockies now are off to a 8-40 start.
I mean, my God.
8-40 has them on pace to finish the season 27-135. That is 12 games worse than the worst team ever, which was last year's White Sox. 12 games worse.
It's pretty staggering. It's hopeless.
That's your market. That's your.
I guess this is like, okay, how would a AAA team do in the major leagues?
Right.
You're seeing it,
and not
you're seeing it.
Yeah.
And the answer is poorly.
Yeah.
And so again, and going back to Mike Bassick, we talked about this in the dugout. I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. he was like, all right, which Rockies players, if they were
available,
if they were designated for assignment, would get claimed. And Tovar, the shortstop, who was hurt for the Rangers series, was one. And then but then it was like Ryan McMahon, the center fielder, is a nice player, but there just weren't very many of them.
No, and no pitchers,
right?
None. And so speaking of guys who were around the Rangers for 1 year, like Andrew Jones, Clint Hurdle, and I just saw a post from him today talking about his time so far already with the Rockies. But look, I loved the guy when he was there with the Rangers in 2010. Very likable guy. Talked to him several times since then. Really cool guy, and I feel for him. Right? He had been a assistant to the GM or a special assistant to the GM, just out working the various minor league teams and helping out where he could. And then I think it was as early as April, he got called back to be the hitting coach. And he came back and he says he's all in. He's 100%, full force going at it. And I just can't imagine that's just got to be such a difficult, awe-inspiring type position to be in. Like,
yeah,
we don't have the horses, we don't have the tools, we don't have the talent.
Right. And firing the manager, Bud Black, probably did Bud a favor, to be honest with you. But it's just so that's where I'm from. They started my senior year of high school, so I never had a
huge
Rockies bond. And so I mean, a month before I graduated, and then a few months before I went to TCU. My parents did buy season tickets, at Old Mile High Stadium while Coors Field was being built. And, it was a fun time out there, and they still have fun. The Rockies still draw pretty well. As bad as they are, they still will draw pretty well. Lower downtown, it's, I don't know, half a mile from where the Avalanche play, Ball Arena, and Nuggets play. And the building of that, the construction of that ballpark revitalized that whole area downtown. And but anyway, it's just the area before that place came in was just abandoned buildings.
Was it?
And very desolate and needed to be rebuilt. Well, now the Rockies are now need to be rebuilt. Yeah. But they just have no plan. There just does not seem to be a plan.
No, it doesn't. It's not working. Lodo, as they call it over there, lower downtown, is working. Yeah. There's that one street that you don't even drive on. It's just
Tabor. Tabor. No, not Tabor. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, anyway. And I never made a game at Mile High. Was that really funky with the old football stadium?
Yeah, it was. Because right field was ridiculous. That's where the south stands were. Yeah. It was pretty deep to center. Yeah. But it was a
I mean, they did that at a lot of things were dual purpose stadiums back in the 70s in particular. So anyway, feel for the Rockies and their fans, although again, they enjoy going to those games and drinking that Blue Moon out there. So so let us show you the best thing you'll see all day. This is a fantastic video with Zach Wagner, a Miracle League player in Arizona, as the star.
Hey, Wagner.
The game is on the line. Zach steps up. Look at just imitating all of his favorite players. And, yep, there it goes. Look at Zach. That is fantastic. They win the game, a walk-off home run for Zach Wagner. And I know you are too, Jeff. I'm just such a fan of the Miracle League. And
100%.
I absolutely love the genuine reactions from the kids who are thoroughly enjoying the opportunity to do what all the other kids get to do.
Yeah, Henry played in Frisco over the weekend, and they had a Miracle League field up there, and you saw the kids playing. And I've past tournaments that we played in Waxahachie. They had a Miracle League field there, and Henry's team had just gotten beat, and they're being a bunch of babies, basically.
Yeah.
I said, go up there and watch.
Yeah.
Go watch them.
Yeah.
And see how much they enjoy it, and what you guys are taking for granted, how much joy they get out of that. And so I always encourage the kids to do that.
Yeah. So remember, Zach, hold a nice thought for him today. He is he's feeling pretty good about that bomb that he called and then hit. All right, so that's going to do it for us on this day. Remember, tomorrow we're in sometime around 2:30 with a Rangers post-game show. We'll hopefully be talking about a great performance by Jacob deGrom, followed by a great performance by Nathan Eovaldi. We shall see what happens there, and we shall see you then. Thanks for checking us out today on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.